Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to go over how to use the new MOBIT response goals and being able to take responses from your prospects and contacts and put them into custom fields or special fields inside of MOBIT. For example, if somebody were to reply with their email address, how you could take that email address and put it into the email field in MOBIT, which can also be translated over to other systems like Infusionsoft or any other system that you're using through our Zapier connection. So let's take a look. I've created a campaign here called Response Goal. So here you can see that the campaign is already created with the keyword. Once the person keywords in, they're going to get the text message. The first one will be the opt-in message where they need to reply yes. So we're going to assume that we're in the US and doing a double opt-in message. If you're outside of the US, then you can just go with the single opt-in message, which would only go to the confirmation text as opposed to the opt-in text. Now, where we're asking for the response is here in the confirmation text where you say, please reply with your email address to get things started. Okay, so we'll go ahead and keep that saved. Then we went and created the response goal. We can get that by clicking here, and that's how we create the response goal. So in the response goal, we want them to respond to the confirmation text, which is why I checked the confirmation text. And we want the rules to be set up so that the response contains an email. And so you've got other rules that you could check like equals, contains an email, contains a whole number, or any response that is not a system keyword. So in this case, we want them to respond with something that is an email. And then down here, we have a text that we can send them if they respond with something that is not a valid email. So in this case, I just said, sorry, please reply with a valid email so that we can send you the information right away. And that is it for this. So let's go ahead and hit save. And once they reply with a valid email address, that email will then be populated in the MOBIT field. If you're synced with Infusionsoft, it will also be in Infusionsoft. Then we can go ahead and apply a tag. This tag could be used to trigger a campaign in Infusionsoft, or it could also be used to trigger an action in Zapier. We'll talk about that at the very end of this presentation. Now, let's go ahead and say that we also want to send them another text message. In this text message, we'll say, all right, check your email. The information's on the way. And then just for testing purposes so that we could see how this actually works, I'm also going to have them reply with their last name so that we could see how it all gets populated. Here you can see I've got another response goal for their last name. In this case, we're going to take the reply that comes from the subscriber text, and we're going to take any response that is not a system keyword. Then this time, instead of putting it in the email space, we're going to put it in the last name field. And finally, we'll just put needs valid name. Go ahead and hit save. Now we're ready to see this in action. So first, let's go take a look at a contact record. Here, we're going to use Kevin Test 1. It's got the phone number. This person is non-marketable. There's no email, and we don't have a last name for this person. So I'm going to share the screen of my cell phone so that we could see this in action. First, let's go to the text screen and let's text in to 72,000. Now let's text in our keyword. Okay, so let's opt in by replying yes. And so now we'll put our email address in. All right, and now inside MOBIT, it's already added my email address. And for the purposes of demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and put in my last name as well. All right, and that is everything. So it's all in MOBIT now. So we're going to go straight from here over to the contact record. Okay, and so we're still here with no email address, non-marketable, no last name. And we're just going to go ahead and refresh. So now we've got a last name, an email, and we are a subscriber as opposed to a non-subscriber. And so just so that we can see how this works, let's go ahead and go into Infusionsoft as well and see what's happening in there. So in Infusionsoft here, again, you see there's no last name and there's no email, but let's go ahead and refresh this page. And there it is. So now let's go over, and I wanted to also go over the campaign that I built for the Zapier integration. So here we are. Again, it's just about the same campaign where they come in, they have the response goal where we're asking for an email. Once we get an email, we're going to apply a tag, and then we're going to send a second text. But this time, the difference is that we're going to apply a new goal down here, and it's going to be a tag applied goal. And if I go ahead and open up this tag applied goal, you'll see that it says show in Zapier. So that way, when you go into your Zapier account, this goal can trigger whatever it is that you've got set up in Zapier. Okay, that's it for response goals. Happy texting.